Please excuse me if I start crying. Thank you, Mary, for such beautiful words. Your love and support for RRR is something I hold very, very dearly. Taking this award from you, receiving this award from you, is a great honor. I always cherish it. Thank you very much. I wrote a big thank you letter for the podium, assuming that it will cover my shivering legs. But because it doesn't, I think you can skip that part. And directly we go to thanking the jury, my dear members of New York Film Critics Circle. By naming me the best director, you just not honored my whole cast and crew. You made a lot of people take notice of a small film field in India, south of India, Telugu film field. Many people doesn't know that such a film field exists, but because of this, now I'm assuming many people will look at it, and that will give us a global recognition. Thank you very much. It's not very uncommon for us to say our film units are like our family, but in my case it is slightly different. Most of my film crew, most of my HODs of my films are actually my family. My father is the story writer for most of my films. My elder brother is the music director, music composer for most of all my films. My wife is a costume designer for my films. My sister-in-law is the line producer. My son is a producer and line producer. My nephew is a lead vocal artist. My another brother helps me with writing. Yeah, you can call it a family business. But it is their a love for me, not just love. It is their intention to place me at the top of the game, which helped me achieve whatever successes I had. I am deeply grateful to my family. The rest of the crew is also like a family too. I rarely change my main DOP or the production designer or the visual effects supervisor. They worked with me for many years, for many films. I take this opportunity to thank all of them, and of course my actors did an incredible job. I take this opportunity to thank my lead actors, my team, N.T. Ramarao and my Ram Charan, who breathe life into their characters, and of course, how can anyone forget the Natu Natu song? That is exactly what I want to give to my audiences. That look of pure joy when they watch my films. My heroes, I like them to be larger than life, almost superhuman, but their superhuman abilities comes from a strong emotional, strong human emotion, which drives them to do those particular feats. I essentially make films for Indians across the world. But when I started seeing the same kind of reception in India, I don't know how many of you know how we Indians watch films. It is just incredible. On the first day of the film, you won't see the picture, you won't hear the sound, because there is so much of confidence that is thrown scream so loudly with joy, you won't hear any sound. Don't ask me why we still see the films, we do. But with RRR, I saw the same kind of reception in the West. Whether it is in New York, whether it's in LA, whether it's in Chicago. When I went, initially I thought all of them were Indians, or most of them were Indians, but I personally went there and saw them. 90% of them were Americans, and they were reacting the same way the Indians did. So that is, I think, one of the biggest achievements that RRR did. The pure joy of watching a film in theater. For me, a cinema is like a temple. Even today, I remember the excitement I had as a kid when I entered the film hall, waited for the lights to go down, and waited for the story to play on the screen. Got immersed into that world. The excitement I felt that day, I still remember today. Not just remember, every time I imagine a sequence or a scene or whatever, when I write a story, I imagine it on the screen, in the cinema hall, along with the audience. That's how I can see my images. I want to tell one example. This was not as a kid, as a young adult. I was watching the film Terminator 2. In India, we have intervals. Even if it's an English film, even if you guys don't give an interval, the production operator will find an appropriate time, and he will just stop the film and put an interval count. The placement that he chose for Terminator 2 was when T-1000 stops and his cut off steel claw lights and joys his leg. You all know that comes after a lengthy, fantastic action set piece. So the projector stopped the film and he played the interval card. The lights were on, and I remember the looks on the faces of the audience. It is pure joy of awe. It was, you can look at their faces and say what they were thinking, right? It is just like, what in the hell we just witnessed.